Wuhan. It's a mega city with 11 million people in central China. It's a beautiful city that sits on the banks of the Yangtze River. It has the second largest number of universities in China. People from all over the world come here to study. Trains, planes, always coming through. It is a perfect location geographically, economically for the virus outbreak. If you want to pick a perfect location for the virus to break out, this would be the city. Life was normal around the world until November 2019. Beginning early December, people in Wuhan started falling ill with a mysterious disease with symptoms of fever, cold, and a form of pneumonia in severe cases from an unknown cause. It takes a little time for any infectious disease to be aware that it is new. Local doctors suspected that the virus might have originated from city's Huanan seafood and wildlife market. Viruses are microscopic parasites that require a foreign living cell, often called a host, to multiply. They infect almost everything on the planet: bacteria, plants, birds, mammals, animals, including humans. They largely consist of a genetic material, either DNA or RNA, wrapped inside a protein coat or cell membrane. Once they find their host cell, they multiply by replicating, often disrupting the metabolism of the host cell. By the middle of December, the number of cases rised. Biologists studied the genetics of the virus and reported that the virus might have originated in bats, infected some animal, suspected to be a pangolin in this case, and spread to a human who handled and touched the contaminated meat of the infected animal in the wildlife market. By late December 2019, as the number of cases increased, doctors began sharing information in private chat groups. Around 5 p.m. on December 30th, Dr. Li Wenliang, an ophthalmologist at Wuhan Central Hospital, messaged his college classmates group on WeChat. Lee wasn't authorized to share information, but he wanted to warn his former classmates, mostly fellow physicians, so that they would know to protect themselves. He asked them not to share the news outside the group, but soon the chat had spread via a screenshot with Lee's name attached to it throughout and beyond Hubei province, of which Wuhan is the capital. Lee was irritated at first, but then he understood it. But his real concern was something else. He was scared because in the year 2002, in Guangdong province of southern China, another coronavirus from bats jumped to civet cats and then to humans, caused 8,000 infections and 774 deaths over 26 countries. The mortality rate was 10%. It was deadly. 8 hours after alerting his fellow physicians in a private chat group about coronavirus at Wuhan Hospital, Dr. Li received a phone call on 31st December 2019 at 1:30 a.m., summoning him to the offices of the Municipal Health Commission, where his superiors were attending an emergency conference. There, the hospital leadership questioned Li about the WeChat message. Later that day, while at work, Dr. Li was called to the inspection section, essentially a political arm of the hospital, for more disciplinary meetings. On the same day, Wuhan Internal Commission sends an urgent notice to all the hospitals in Wuhan about the treatment of pneumonia of an unknown cause. The notice also warned them to keep the outbreak quiet. But Dr. Lee and other doctors continued to share information. But China, being a communist country, people there don't have the freedom of speech like we have in democracy. China doesn't like its citizens spread rumors, even when it is the deadliest pandemic, deadliest virus outbreak that can end the world. But this is not a rumor. On January 3rd, 2020, the local police station in Wuhan called Dr. Lee and informed him that he was required to sign and fingerprint an admonition letter for spreading untrue speech. He was threatened with arrest. And police had also contacted 8 other people who spread the rumors, according to CCTV, which is the primary state broadcaster. Every whistleblower has been silenced by the local government. Millions of social media posts were deleted. Chat groups were banned. Whistleblowers have been arrested by Chinese government. That was a crucial time of 2 weeks where China could have contained the virus and could have alerted the local authorities to track the infected people and treat them in isolation. But it got lost in information surveillance and the politics of the communist government. Around 7th January, Dr. Lee treated a glaucoma patient with fever and unidentified pneumonia. Several of the patient's family members had begun showing symptoms similar to hers. On January 10th, Dr. Lee began coughing. He ran a fever next day and was hospitalized and was given a diagnosis of coronavirus. The general public was still largely unaware of any outbreak. 4 weeks after the first infected case, China had alerted the WHO, World Health Organization, about unusual cases of pneumonia of an unknown virus. On 11th January, China recorded its first death, a 61-year-old man who had purchased goods from the seafood market. Treatment did not improve his symptoms, and he was admitted to the hospital and died of heart failure. Things are about to get worse. It was the middle of January 2020. It has been 40 days since the first registered case of a coronavirus infected person. 20 people have died already. Hundreds have contracted the virus, and thousands of undetected cases. And the virus bomb was ready to explode. Millions of Chinese traveled to Wuhan in January to celebrate Lunar New Year. Perfect time for the virus to break out. Chinese government had already silenced the whistleblowers who first shared the information about the virus. Millions of social media posts have been deleted about the virus. The false information released by the relevant departments, claiming that the disease was controllable and would not spread from human to human, left hundreds of doctors and nurses in the dark, doing all they could to treat patients without knowing about the epidemic. In just 10 days, the situation went out of control. Chinese government had alerted the WHO about the outbreak. On January 22nd, the death toll in China jumped to 17, with more than 550 infections. On 23rd January, the city of Wuhan was locked down. Hospitals were flooded with patients. People were quarantined forcefully. Even some of their doors were welded so that they can't get out. People were dying everywhere. The city resembled an apocalypse. transport restrictions were imposed, flights cancelled. But before the lockdown in January, millions of Chinese have already traveled to Wuhan, celebrated the Lunar New Year, and went back to their hometowns and other cities across the globe. The virus has already spread across the world. By 27th January 2020, many countries, United States of America, Australia, Canada, Nepal, France, Germany, Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Vietnam, and Taiwan, and others have confirmed positive coronavirus cases. On March 11th, WHO declared COVID-19 as a pandemic after seeing the exponential rise in many countries across the globe. As of 25th April, there are about 25 lakh people who are infected with the disease in nearly 180 countries, and nearly 2 lakh people have died, and millions of undetected cases. There are some horrific visuals from Italy where the highest number of deaths due to coronavirus have been recorded in March. On 27th March alone, more than 900 people have died in Italy. Many children were quarantined with infection and were not allowed to attend the funeral of their parents. Spain and United States of America were two other worst hit countries with the pandemic, with Spain nearly 2 lakh infected cases and maximum deaths per day nearly 1,000. On February 6th at 9 p.m., Dr. Li died of complications of coronavirus after treating a glaucoma patient who contracted the virus. Chinese government has apologized to the family of Dr. Li. Many of his colleagues lost their lives to coronavirus too. How can China justify their acts of communism? How can they justify the death of Dr. Li, who first alerted about the disease outbreak? Dr. Li was a true hero who continued sharing information despite being threatened by the police. Since Chinese President Xi Jinping's announcement on 11th January, at least 350 people have been reprimanded or detained by the police for so-called spreading rumors about coronavirus. How can China justify their acts of suppressing information on social media that led to the global outbreak? Can they ever realize the importance of democracy? I don't think so. Communism is a failed model. How can China justify their cover-up, which caused the worldwide coronavirus outbreak, which killed nearly 2 lakh people and infected at least 25 lakhs? It is no doubt that the coronavirus outbreak has brought the entire world into their economical, health, and even existential crisis. China has to answer the world. China is answerable and accountable to every human being on this planet. What exactly is a coronavirus? Why did it spread so fast? There are at least 3 to 6 lakh people die each year because of seasonal influenza viruses. Then why coronavirus has triggered a panic in the world? Stay tuned for science behind these virus outbreaks.